Hello everyone, we'll be starting our today's topic, that is anti-cancer drugs. So what is cancer? Cancer is basically abnormal growth of cells. So basically anti-cancer drugs are the drugs that stop the growth of cells. So we'll be talking about cell cycle first. So in a normal cell cycle we have four phases, that is the G1 phase, the S phase, G2 phase and the M phase. Now in the anti-cancer drugs we'll talk about classification first. So we have two types of drugs. First is the non-cell cycle specific and the other is the cell cycle specific. Now talking about the non-cell cycle specific acts in all these phases of the cell cycle, whereas the cell cycle specific acts only on the S phase or the M phase. So you'll have two types of drugs, one which are acting on M phase and the other which are acting on S phase. So first we'll talk about the non-cycle specific drugs. Now also note that the drugs that act on the S phase will inhibit the DNA synthesis, and the drugs that act on M phase, this is the mitosis phase, so they'll inhibit the microtubule. Now moving on to the actual classification, the non-cell cycle specific drugs, these are three types of drugs, that is first is the alkylating agents, the second is the platinum coordination complexes, and the third one is the antibiotics. So these are non-cell cycle specific. Now in alkylating agents we have nitrogen mustards, we have the important ones nitrosoureas, then you have methyl hydrolazine and alkyl sulfonate. And yeah, so moving on to the cell cycle specific drugs. In cell cycle specific drugs we'll be talking about the drugs that act on the S phase first. So the drugs that act on the S phase first are antimetabolites. Antimetabolites are of three types: folate antagonist, the purine antagonist and the pyrimidine antagonist. Now if we talk about the other drugs that act on the S phase, it will be the topoisomerase inhibitors, and we also have hydroxyurea that acts on the S phase. And now moving on to the drugs that act on the M phase. So the drugs that act on M phase are microtubule damaging agents, which includes vincyl alkaloids, taxane and istramostene. So this was the classification of the anti-cancer drugs. We'll be talking about the non-cell cycle specific drugs first. In that we'll be talking about the alkylating agents. So alkylating agents, we'll talk about the mechanism of action first. Now in alkylating agents it acts on DNA. How? So imagine this is a DNA. Now the alkylating agents are the drugs that have a H atom missing. So if this is missing, what these agents do, they tend to bind to a place where H is available. So at the place of N7 at the guanine, this alkylating agents bind here. This causes abnormal binding with thiamine. So when this pairing occurs, this is an abnormal pairing and this results in abnormal DNA. And when there is abnormal DNA, this reaches the cell gate, that is be it G1 or G2. So after reaching the cell gate there are two options. The first, if it is a functional gate, or second, if it's a non-functional gate. So if it's a functional gate, these drugs will cause cytotoxicity, and that means the cell will die. But what if it's a non-functional gate? That means the abnormal cells will proliferate and there will be secondary cancers. So basically you will be given an alkylating agent which will in turn to cure cancer, which will in turn cause cancer. So these secondary cancers, the most common one is AML, and this AML is maximum with milfalin, and it is minimum with cyclophosphate. So this is important. Now moving on to the classification of alkylating agents. So the alkylating agents are further classified into 4 classes. So we have the first class as nitrogen mustard, nitrosoureas, agents that act by DNA methylation, and the last one are miscellaneous. So first we'll be talking about the one nitrogen mustard. Now in nitrogen mustard, the most important drug is cyclophosphamide. Now we need to remember that this drug is a prodrug. That means whenever cyclophosphamide enters our body, it is metabolized in the liver. So it follows 3 pathways. There are 3 metabolites. The first one is the aldophosphamide. The second, these are inactive metabolites, and these are excreted. And the third one is chloracetoaldehyde. Now out of these 3, the inactive metabolites, we know that these are excreted, so they have no role in the drug action. The cycloacetoaldehyde, you need to know that this causes neurotoxicity. On the other hand, aldophosphamide, it breaks down into further 2 categories. There's acrolein, and then we have phosphoramide mustard. Phosphoramide mustard. Now this is the drug that acts, this is the one that causes cytotoxicity. On the other hand, the acrolein is the drug that causes, the metabolite that causes hemorrhagic cystitis. Now this hemorrhagic cystitis, you can prevent it or by giving a drug that's called Mesna. Now how much is the Mesna given? So Mesna is given 60% of the nitrogen of the cyclophosphamide. So for example, if I am giving 100 grams of cyclophosphamide, I will give 60 grams of Mesna along with it. Now the first drug was cyclophosphamide. Now we'll talk about the second drug in this category, that is ifosfamide. Now you need to know that this is the most neurotoxic alkylating agent. Since it is metabolized slowly, so there will be increase in toxic metabolites, and that means there will be more chances of hemorrhagic cystitis and more chances of neurotoxicity. And this was about the metabolism and the side effects. We'll talk about the use. So we have cyclophosphamide and we have ifosfamide. So ifosfamide, you need to remember just 2 things. So it's easy. There's osteosarcoma and testicular cancer. In cyclophosphamide, you have 2 types of action. That is, one is the neoplastic and the non-neoplastic. So non-neoplastic, it is drug of choice for two non-neoplastic diseases, that is Wegener's granulomatosis, and the second one is steroid dependent nephrotic syndrome. For both of these, it is drug of choice, but it can also be used in two other things, that is rheumatoid arthritis and inflammatory bowel disease. This was the non-neoplastic use. The neoplastic use in women is breast and ovarian cancer. This was in women. Then in infant or pediatric age group, it is neuroblastoma or Andwilm's tumor. And it can also be used for bone marrow cancer. That means non-Hodgkin lymphoma and CLL. The third drug in this category is meclorethamine. So this meclorethamine, this drug is used in Hodgkin's lymphoma. Now, in Hodgkin's lymphoma, there is an old regimen and then there is the new regimen. So this drug was used in the old regimen. Now, what does the old regimen say? The old regimen, there's a mnemonic for it, that's a MOP regimen. So the MOP regimen, this is meclorethamine, that's Oncovin, this is prednisolone, and this is procarbazine. This can be asked in MCQs, but what is the new regimen? You need to remember this one. This is A, B, V, D. What's A? It's adriamycin. B, bleomycin. V, vinblastine. And D is dacarbazine. Now, this was about meclorethamine. The side effect, adverse effect, is vesication. And this vesication is also seen with the drug called doxorubicin. We'll read about it in subsequent lectures. So, how can you prevent this vesication? This can be prevented by rapid IV infusion. Now, after this, we have another drug, that is the fourth drug, that will be melphalan. Now, when we're talking about melphalan, from M for melphalan, M for multiple myeloma. So, this drug is used in multiple myeloma. Now, what is a regimen for multiple myeloma? So, the regimen, we'll divide it into three phases. There is induction, there is stem cell transplantation, and then there is consolidation. So, in induction, we have three drugs. We have lenalidomide, we have bortezomib, and we have dexamethasone. Now, these three drugs, the melphalan is the substitute drug for multiple myeloma. So, instead of these, you can substitute them for melphalan. Now, in stem cell transplantation, remember that melphalan cannot be used because melphalan, it's a anti-cancer drug, so it will affect the stem cells. And based on consolidation, it is on consolidation based on the prognosis you give the drugs. So, if the prognosis is good or if the prognosis is poor. So, if the prognosis is good, you will just give lenalidomide, and if it's poor, you will give lenalidomide plus bortezomib. Okay, and remember, like I told you about meclorethamine, this is a vesication. It causes vesication, so it's a vesicant. Melphalan does not cause vesication. Now, we have another drug, that's chlorambucil. So, this drug, chlorambucil, it's used in CLL. That is all that you need to know about it. Then we have another drug, bendamustine. Now, this drug is also used in CLL, but it's also used in Hodgkin's lymphoma. Now, when we read Hodgkin's lymphoma, we read about these drugs A, B, V, D. These are the important drugs: adriamycin, bleomycin, vinblastine, and dacarbazine. But bendamustine can also be used, so we can remember that also. Now, this was about nitrogen mustards. Moving on to our next class, nitrosoureas. In alkylating agent, another class, nitrosoureas. Now, in nitrosoureas, you have 4 drugs. So first one is carmustine, then lomustine, then semustine, and the last one is streptozocin. So the carmustine, lomustine, and semustine, you can remember that since they have a rhyming name, you can remember they cross blood-brain barrier. So if they cross blood-brain barrier, they are used in brain tumors. Now, this streptozocin, it is used in pancreatic carcinoma, malignant carcinoma, and tumors. And a side effect about carmustine, lomustine, and semustine is that it causes neutropenia. So this is the reason why we don't use these drugs so commonly in brain tumors. Now, after this, we have alkylating agents. Agents that act by DNA methylation. So by DNA methylation, so in that we have 3 drugs. That's procarbazine, dacarbazine, and temozolomide. So procarbazine, it causes a lot of side effects. So this is important because of the side effects. It causes disulfiram-like reaction, cheese reaction, and serotonin syndrome. So procarbazine causes disulfiram-like reaction, cheese reaction, and serotonin syndrome. On the other hand, dacarbazine, it's used in Hodgkin's lymphoma. And this temozolomide, it's drug of choice for brain tumor. So that is it for alkylating agents.